Hello, hello, hello. Hey, it's Charlotte Stallings, and I've been missing you all. So it is a delight to be here with you tonight. Thank you for being here. Thank you for I've seen some folks as I've been moving around town and the country, and they're like, you know what? I listened to you, and I've missed you, and I went, really? Oh my goodness, that felt like really good. And so thank you for being here tonight. And my only request is ever just to share it on your page. Um, and so many of you have shared. You shared the little a post that I did the other day, and I am very appreciative for that. So just wanted to let you know that Winning Wednesday did not go away. We didn't go hide under a rock. Hey, Dee, it's good to see you. We just took a break, and sometimes that's what's needed. That's what I'm learning for myself and for business. It's to take a break every so often. And so I just wanted to come on just to remind you that we're here, we're going to be here, and to talk a little about some of the things that I learned over the summer. And I'd love to hear about some things you've learned. I know we're well into the fall, and you may be saying, Charlotte, you're talking about the summer, and we are past that. But I'm just gonna work with it. So yes, so just a good, full, inspiring summer, lots of work, lots of business, always appreciative for that. For those of you who are business owners, you know what that's like. You need the business, yet sometimes we can get caught up in the business. So lots of good work, great opportunities with my clients. I'm so appreciative of them. Lots of travel inside there, some family travel, some business travel, just lots of things that have gone on during the summer months. And I'd love to hear about the things that you were involved with, whether that's travel or family or whatever that might have been. So please let me know. Hey, Jennifer, good to see you. Yeah, we absolutely deserve a break. And during the summer, one of the things we were able to do was celebrate a good friend, Dr. Gina Jerkins, who obtained another degree. So we did some fun stuff. And so lots that is going on, and having lots to do is great. Yet what I'm learning for myself personally and for business is sometimes the busyness can be too much. So that's why I want to talk about push tonight. That's a little thing that I just want to kind of share with you. A great little insight as I do my walking. I try to knock out a couple of miles every day. I don't get it done all the time, but I do make my best effort when I'm in town and I can. And in recent weeks, I've just been getting some insights that have been helpful to me, and I want to share them with you. So before I do that, and I won't be here long, I want you to know absolutely Winning Wednesday is back. Again, I ask you, please. Hey, friend. Hey, Dr. G. Good to see you. Hey, Mary. Um, we're going to be back, and my goal is twice a month. So at a minimum, twice a month, we'll be popping on. And I've got some great folks lined up. And the whole goal of Winning Wednesday is to showcase or highlight or just amplify people who are winning at life, work and home and all aspects of life, winning without perfection or permission. That's my t-shirt. And they are making it happen, pushing through obstacles and boundaries and moving forward. And so that's the whole goal here. And as I evaluate my business and my life, what I want to do is be a conduit, a pass through. If you think about a pipe and things pass through the pipe, so I can be a curator of content and putting in front of the world people who are winning at life. And so I ask you again, please share what's happening right now with your page. Just go ahead and share it to your socials. And then also to if you've got a topic that you would love to share, or you've got some expertise around, let me know, and let's get you here so that we can put you in front of the world. Okay, so that's my whole goal, and one of my things as a business owner is to always have something that I can invite you to. So that's what Winning Wednesday allows. For me to create a space for you to come into, to glean, to learn, to share, to encourage, to be encouraged, all those things. Hey, Mama's always watching. Hey, love you. I appreciate it. And we're going to stick with each other. So let's get into this idea of push and what I want to just share. And I'd love to hear your thoughts about this as well. So I have a bike, and I have this bike, and I've talked about it for years. I call it the Beast. because it's not a regular bike. It is a long, heavy bike. This bike is a recumbent bike, and you don't see them too often. So it sits low to the ground. It's got a big, heavy, long frame. Hey, Felicia, it's so good to see you. And I ride this bike, and I love this bike because it supports my back, because it supports my butt. And I get a great workout because it makes my legs really go, and it's good. And I love biking, and I've had it for years, and it's all kinds of things have gone on with that bike, but I go get it fixed and worked on. I love the fact that I can literally just get up and get out and ride. And there was a time where I couldn't do that because of just the neighborhood and the community, and it just didn't work. So I love it. I love it. I love it. So I'm riding my bike, and there's a trail that I go. I usually can knock out about 7, 8, 9 miles in a good amount of time. And I get so refreshed and energized by that. And so as I'm biking, I get to this place, and it's not a steep hill, but there's enough of an incline where I have to work hard. And sometimes it's doubly hard to just get up that little incline. But I know once I get up that incline and start coasting, then it's going to get better. And there are days when I'm riding, and if I don't do some of these things, I'm going to talk about 4 P's tonight, the letter P's, 4 P's that I want to share with you. And I want you to reflect, and I want you to think about these things for yourself. But certain times I make this ride, and I can hit that incline, and I'm feeling good and breathing good. Other times it's like, I just can't make it. And I was literally thinking in my one of my most recent rides, like, what makes the difference here? And that's where this thing about push came through. What I realized is I'd get to the incline, and there were some things I was needing to do to help me get to the place where I could start coasting. And one of those things was I was saying to myself, come on, Charlotte, you can do it. Push, girl, push. And sometimes I'd have to yell. But before I even get there, let me tell you some other things that I reflected on that helped me to really get to that place. So I'm going to talk about 4 different P's, the letter P's. You can make a mental note, you can make a physical note. You don't have to make any notes at all. I just want to pass this along, and I'd love to hear your comments in the chat. So this first P, what I realized, in order for me to be able to get to the place in this trail, in this 5, 6 miles that I ride, I have to do this first thing, and it's pause. So the first word I want to convey to everyone is pause. Say it with me wherever you are. Pause. Pause. Like pause. Like how we hit the pause button if we're watching a movie, whatever that might be, we hit pause so we can take a little break. And what I realized is and this isn't just about me riding that bike, it's application for me in my life and my business as well. Sometimes I will speak of me, and I'm not trying to talk universally because I don't know everybody and I can't speak broadly about everybody, but taking a pause. Thank you, Mary. Pausing to do what? To breathe, to look out over this path, over this route that I regularly ride, to just look at the sidewalk. Is there any gravel on the street? Has it been raining? Is it damp? Might I need to change up what I'm doing? Even before I get on the bike, I need to pause. I need to check the tires, make sure that they're properly inflated, and do all those little things my bike is kind of tricked out. So I have some little gadgets, and I got to make sure I put my glasses on. I should have brought my glasses, put my glasses on. I do these things, but it's the idea of pausing. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you, Yolanda. And I know you all can relate. It's just pausing enough to assess. How's the wind? Am I going to have to bike a whole lot harder? Is it really super humid today? What's that going to do? I wear a helmet to be safe. Sometimes I don't because it's raggedy up here. Pausing is where I'm going. And even in this, just here with Winning Wednesday, it was back in the spring, the last time I had my soror on, Erica, and we had a great discussion. And then I just remember feeling like I'm pooped. I'm pooped, not with Winning Wednesday, but I'm pooped with life. I mean, pooped out, just a little bit drained and exhausted. And I just thought, okay, I won't do next week. And then the next week came, and I said, well, I won't do next week. And then I looked up, and it was a month. And then the little girls upstairs that I talk about often, they started to say, oh no, you have screwed up. people are going to forget. And, that's pretty ratchet. You start something and you don't finish. All that language. Thanks, Angela. I can understand. So all that language was going through my head. And it got to a point where it just doesn't matter, because there were so many other things that were going on. And life was lifing, and not in a negative way. Just like many of you, life was lifing, business was businessing, and I was so thankful for those opportunities. Yet when I stopped listening to the girls up here that I talk about often, and just listening to hear, and I breathed, and I do what my friend Dr. Gina says often: give yourself some grace. And I gave myself grace. And so then I was able to lean into the pause. And so that's one thing that I'm offering to each of you. When I leaned into the pause, what I said was, Charlotte, trust that if you're doing this for purpose, and you're doing Winning Wednesday as an example, and business, and riding my bike for a purpose, it's all gonna be okay. And when it feels right to pick it back up, then you will. And you know what? 3-4 weeks ago, it felt right to say, let's get back into this. So this thing about pausing, I'm learning to pause, to reflect, like getting on the bike. I just don't jump on it. There's some things I need to do. So the power of pausing. I love it, Takesha, pausing and breathing. So pause enough to reflect, enough time to regroup, to regain some insights, to just breathe. I had the great pleasure of being one of the speakers at the Fearless Female retreat that was over in, I forgot where it was. Don't tell Nikita. That's my brain. I'm going to remember before we forget. But it was this beautiful, beautiful island. And it was just so great. I had a presentation to give, and it was well received. And I was so thankful for that. And just to do nothing in this beautiful suite, looking over this water, and the pause. I needed to pause. And while it was work, there was space for me to be able to do that. So I am learning to do more pausing, and that looks like pausing without guilt or regret, or listening to what's happening up here. It is okay to step away from the glass. I'm learning that for me. I'm really trying to implement that, and I want that for you as well. Your personal lives, your business. Where do you need to tap the brakes? I was doing some training yesterday with the city of Houston, facilitating some training, and just some real strong, high-powered people in there, type A personalities, drivers, moving, pushing. And one of the ladies in a very senior position came to me with tears rolling down her face, literally. And she said, you know what? I'm just had the laptop out. I came in here prepared to work through all of this. And she said, you created this space for me to be able to pause, and to not have to be this senior leader, and to not have to be, she's got a lot going on, a lot of illness in her family, and she's a major important caretaker. And she said, I just got to take off all those hats and just really be me and show up. And she said, I can't remember the last time at work that I've been able to do that. So pausing at work, pausing at home, pausing for the things that we love and we're committed to. And I'll say this, I've not been able to pop on the 6 a.m. Bible study the community that, again, my good friend Dr. Gina Jerkins leads, and it's amazing. And it's like, okay, Charlotte, it's okay to pause, and I'll jump back in there. So I just want to encourage you: pause, reset, refresh, do all those things that I see you making comments about in the chat. That's one of those P's. The first thing before pushing, I want you to pause. Okay. Now let's go on. Here's what I realized too, with me riding that bike and with business and other things: pace. So pace is the second word. Say that wherever you are, or write it down, jot that. So after pausing, pace. And what do I mean by that? What I realized with the bike, and it became analogous for me and my life and my business and just all aspects: what's the pace I want to go? Because remember, the goal is to get up this incline and to cover this 6-7 miles that I'm able to do. And I feel so refreshed, and I got to stay on the bike, because this is the same bike back in 2016. Some of you recall, I broke my ankle, and my friend Kim Richardson said to me, "How did you fall off that bike? Because it sits so low to the ground." And she said, "I feel bad, but how you fall off a bike that sits like inches from off the ground?" Well, it's a heavy frame, and when it fell over, that frame hit my ankle on both sides, and it was bad and all that good stuff. But with that bike, it's like, okay, how are you going to get up this incline? And if you don't get enough momentum, Charlotte, and pace yourself to be able to properly get along there, it's not going to work. And there have been times on this route that I literally got off the bike. Now I'm telling you, it's not a hill. It's an incline, but it takes a while to get over that. And I got off the bike and pushed the bike. Yes, I did, because I did not properly pace myself. So this idea of pacing yourself for the journey of life, the journey of parenting, the journey of marriage, the journey of your business, retooling your business, and I'm going through some of that now. And those are all good things. So pacing yourself, and that's what I had to really realize in a lot of this as well. I was just either jumping on the bike, trying to go too fast. Okay, I'm gonna hurry, and then I just had no wind. I had nothing to sustain me. And that's as I reflected. Hey, Hiawatha, that's what I reflected about me in business. And even coming here on Wednesday nights, I was like, okay, at first, every week, we're going to come and do this every single week. And it's like, okay, them Wednesdays are rolling around pretty quickly. And then, okay, we'll do every 2 weeks. And then if I didn't do it exactly that second week because of the commitment, then there was guilt and all that. It's okay. It's okay. I'm learning to let those things go. And so the idea of pacing ourselves, enjoy the journey, relax. And when I do that, when again I pause, get ready to ride, when I expect everything, kind of reflect, look over the landscape, and I'm able to just ride along, got good pacing, and then I'm able, when I hit that slight incline, I'm able to do this next thing about push. Okay. So I want you to really think about for yourself. Are there areas where you need to take a pause? Yeah. Are there areas where, you know what? I'm not properly pacing myself. Even if I said I was going to do this thing every single day, do I give myself some grace? Have I inspected and stood back and pumped my brakes, tapped those brakes enough to say, what's my pacing like? Am I properly pacing myself so that sustainability is the goal, so that I can continue to do this over this length of time that I desire to do it. So we've talked about first pausing, second pacing, and now let's get to the push, because that's the thing that really just, you know what, it was encouraging to me. And even as recently as yesterday, when I was riding and I get to this incline and I know it's coming, it's coming. But it wasn't as hard because I had really implemented the pacing, I'm sorry, the pausing and the pacing. And I still had to say to myself, push, Charlotte, you can do it. Come on, let's go. Okay, push. I literally, and I was yelling it, and I was so glad this is just this big nature park, so nobody heard me. But even if they did, I didn't care. And here's where I'm going with this idea of push. If you got to talk to yourself, you got to pat your own self on the back. You have to reflect, whatever it takes to help you go forward. And I used to think, way back when I was really young, everything, I knew everything wasn't going to come easy, but I used to think, like, even being a believer, or if you had a great plan for your business or whatever, you had the knowledge, the skill set, you had a great circle around you, a team, it was going to be easy. Whatever it was, I used to think, yeah, you don't have to do a lot of work. And what I've come to realize is work is still involved in anything worth having. And I think you would all agree, we've got to work at. I even think about the children of Israel. I love the stories of the children of Israel. The Lord said to them, here's the promised land, but you got to go in and possess the land. What does that mean? You've got to go take it. You've got to expel the people who are there, who are in your land, the giants, the ites, the Hittites, the theseites, the thoseites, whoever they were. The children of Israel, the Israelites had to get their land, they had to go bounce them out. That meant wars, that meant fighting, that meant people got bloody, they got dirty, they were gone from home for long periods of time. And so there's effort in everything that we do. And in the effort, sometimes the push, we push through. Yep, we stay up late. We sacrifice being with friends and family and doing the fun things because we're studying or we're building our businesses or whatever. And I just have come to realize and no, it doesn't have to be always. And I'm not saying it's 24/7, but pushing and breathing through the push. Yolanda Smith is a natural bodybuilder, and she was on here, and others who do yoga and such. I have some friends who do that, and they talk about the importance of breathing. So while we're pushing, breathing. And what does that look like? Literally breathing, but it also means receiving help, asking for help, doing what is necessary to move through the incline of life or that physical exertion that we're doing. And so for me, with that bicycle ride, it was breathing, and it was talking out loud to myself, encouraging myself with nobody around, and also keeping my eye on the prize. And you all know I'll cry in a minute, so I'm not trying to really cry. But that's what's helped me. What's the end game? And there's a place where I'm riding where when I get through the incline, and I've been pushing for a while, it starts to level out, and there's this bench. And when I start to see the bench, I know that I'm getting close, and I get really excited internally because it's like, I did it. I did it. And the effort wasn't as tough today. And there are other days where it might be, but it's like if I can pause, assess while I'm doing that, I can set a pace for myself and then push, I'll get there. And that's what I want to do in my life. That's what I want to do in relationships with all of you. I want to do in my business. And I want to encourage you, even if you feel like, am I making progress? Is this working? Am I reaching anybody? Am I having an impact? It's like stepping back. That's again where the pause. And I'm not saying you do all these in order. Maybe you need to pause before you pace and then push. Just know that that's available to you. And so when I see this landing and this clearing and this bench, and I know I'm going to turn around there and then head back. And then the cool thing about the incline where I had to push going up, it's a little bit easier going down. And think about it day to day and the work that we have to do. There can be times we really have to push through our emotions, push through our feelings, push through literally physically feeling bad or having just a lot of challenges, family things, all kinds of things. So I want you to push and then pause when you need to. Okay. And this last P I want to talk to you about is praise. Yep. So here are 4 words: pause, pace, push, and then praise. And praise is simply this. I want you to celebrate yourself. And that's what I'm learning to do for me. I really am. Just to go, you know what? Good job. I can get really distracted, like easily. I am shiny object at the core. And I'm learning when I can stay focused and I get something done and I go, good job, Charlotte. You did that. You crushed that. And it might have been one little thing. I made a phone call or followed up with something or with someone. But that's what I have to do. And so I want you to praise yourself. I want you to celebrate you. And that's what I'm learning to do is I stayed in the bed a little bit longer. I didn't jump up at the crack of dawn and just start running and ripping. And it's like, good job. Yes, Felicia, celebrate ourselves. And sometimes we're looking for others to do that. And we may not get that. We may not get that. And so if we're looking for that, that's where some disappointment can come in. So how about we celebrate ourselves? How about we say, I did that. And maybe yesterday, because I'm a gummy bear fiend and a chocolate chip cookie fanatic. And if I don't bring them in the house, I celebrate that. Girl, you didn't even go down that aisle. I swear to you, I was at HEB the other day. I know where all the stuff is. My favorite gummies. Oh my gosh. And I just walked past that aisle And I did celebrate myself and I said it out loud. Good job, Charlotte. You didn't even go down that aisle because I knew if I went down the aisle, I was going to pick up a bag. I don't have that kind of willpower all the time. So praise, give yourself some atta girl, atta boy, high five, give yourself some dap. Because sometimes we don't get it from outside sources, and that's okay. We're not always looking for it. And yet when we can do that. So when I'm riding that bike and I get to that point where I don't have to do the hard push and I do deep breathing, I say, good job, girl. Now you can head on back and go to the house. And that's a good feeling. So my in just sharing and just kicking off the fall, the fourth quarter, and can you believe it? Like literally next Sunday is October 1st. This year has sped by. I know that it's like whiplash for all of us. And so let's make it count. And you'll hear that. People will talk about that. You've been saying that, I'm sure, and it's all good. And I agree. So let's pause. And if that's something you need to do as the year is getting ready to wrap up, do you need to step back and pause for a moment just to assess? Now, I don't want you beating up on yourself. Oh, you didn't do this. You didn't do that. Just no, we're not going to do that. How about if you take it real simple? You know what? Here's one thing that there's an opportunity for me to improve or strengthen, and here's some things that I'm going to celebrate or build on. So in that pausing, reflective, um, in a positive way, and then pace. So what do I want to accomplish? If I want to knock out 20 things, 20 different goals, do I try to do them all in one day, or I say, you know what, I'm going to shoot for one high value activity each day. I'm going to carve out 10-15 minutes to do that each day. Okay, that's great. Pacing yourself and then pushing as you're executing and you're implementing and you're working hard to make those things happen. Push when it gets tight, push when it gets hard, and do what you need to. And then that yelling, symbolically, as I was doing that during my rides, and I do it pretty much every time I'm riding and get to that incline. That's me breathing. That's me reaching for what I need and pulling it in, and I'm getting it. And I thank the Lord for that. And then praise yourself. Give yourself some dap and say, that's A-okay to do. Okay. So I love it. And I love some comments that I've seen here real quickly. Yolanda said, I'm learning to celebrate myself. I celebrate that while, and I'm going to pop this up here. She said that while I celebrate that, while I'm pushing and encouraging others, I encourage myself not to stop as well. It's hard. Lord, it is hard. I get you, Yolanda, 100% there. And I love that you do. You're a great celebrator of so many other people and an encourager. And please keep that up and keep celebrating yourself because you're amazing. I love it. And Constance is saying she just celebrated a birthday and had big fun with all of her family in town. Yes, praise. I do this more now. And that's great. I'm so glad to hear that for all of us, that we're celebrating ourselves. And hey, Hiatus, it's so good to see you. Pause, pace, push, and praise. That's what I'm talking about. The 4 P's. Okay. So, and Katina, hey, from Minnesota, I'm glad that you're here. Thank you for being here. What I want to do is just wrap up. I don't want to hold you long. I so appreciate you being here. I'm going to be inviting my good friend. Here she goes. Dr. G is on, and she is saying yes, because heart is often a part of the journey. We should speak truth to that more often so that people don't think that they're being punished or failing if there are some hurdles and bumps along the way. See, that's why she is going to be on very soon, along with my good friend, Pastor Terry Theo. We like to do our, every couple of times during the year, I get them on and we have a good girlfriend chat and we talk about truths like this. There is a part of the journey, life, business, relationships, parenting, that are hard. So we got to push, and there's no magic sauce or anything you can sprinkle to make it easy. It just is hard. She, again, I was referencing earlier, got a whole nother degree. I think it's 5 now under her belt. It wasn't easy from what she had shared with me. Late nights, early mornings, and for many of you, the very, very same, whether you're caretaking your children or grandchildren or parents, whatever that might look like. It's not easy. And I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. It's just the truth. But what can we do? What can we do? And I'm learning for me the things that I can do and leaning into all of you and trying to live in purpose. Okay. If I were adding a P, it would be that living in purpose. And this is one of the purposes I'm clear about for myself is being a conduit, being a curator of just content and being able to create opportunities and spaces for you all to share and for us to grow and learn together. So I'm going to be having Dr. Gina on and Pastor Terry Thiel. And guess what? I will be having Milan on and Leslie. They are starting a podcast for millennials and how you get into adulting. And so they're going to be on talking to young millennials, and maybe another we'll have on there. We're also going to circle back and talk. We had a popular show back last year. We had several couples who were on, and it was a fun time. And that was like a high demand, have them back. So we're going to pull all those back together. And I said this previously, just didn't get it scheduled, but we will. A good friend said, hey, everybody's not married. And let's talk about life after divorce. So we'll be getting that on here. So my goal is real deal, real talk scenarios. And one other topic, a lot of times when parents are sending their kids off to college, that's a whole different kind of something that you feel. I remember all kinds of emotions when Milan left for college. And my niece recently dropped her daughter off at LSU and was feeling some kind of way. She's better. And yet, what is that like? So I'll be having some professionals on to talk about just that first stage, even though they're off and they're back, and what does that look like for the student and the parent. We'll be doing some conversation in that space and other things. So that's it for tonight. Thank you for being with me. In 2 weeks, we'll be back. So we'll be kicking off with guests in October. So you'll be seeing some promos and some other things that we're doing. And I want to pop Teresa in here real quick. She's on her journey working toward her doctorate. And she's saying it's also important to purge. Ooh, I love that, Teresa. Get rid of those things that will hinder you from the push, those unnecessary and busy things. Such a good word, Teresa. You're absolutely right. So we could have a whole list of P's. That's homework if I were assigning it. What other P's would you add to this list that you're implementing for yourself or that you think are valuable? And let's talk about it. So good stuff. I'm loving this. Hey, Angie, I want to pop you in here. Not easy, but I remind myself God trusts me so much that he had more faith in me than I do in myself. If that is so, it encourages me to keep pushing. Yes. I love you, Angie. It's so good to have you here. Thank you. Push, push, push. I love it. Let's all do that. Thank you. Thank you for being here. I love you. Thank you. My only request is that you share. Okay. Once this is done, if you were sharing it to your page while we were live, great. If not, if you'll share it and push it out, I just want to encourage people. That is my goal. One of my goals and my aims in life, just to encourage, just to be a safe space, to be a comfortable place and space for people, and to spread love and joy. I know that sounds crazy, but that's for real me. Okay. I love you all. Thank you for being here. Good night. I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Okay. Take care. Remember, pause, pace, push, praise. And I love Teresa's P. We're going to purge. We're going to dump that stuff that doesn't serve us any longer. Okay. Take care. Good night. I appreciate you all. Thanks a ton for being here. Good night.